It started as an ordinary Thursday evening. I was in the kitchen, rinsing dishes, when my little son, Liam, came running in, his small face pale and anxious. "Mom, you have to listen to me," he said, clutching my hand as if he could anchor himself to safety. I looked down at him, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead, and smiled softly. "What is it, baby? You're scaring me." But the intensity in his eyes made me pause. "It's Dad. Something's wrong. I don't know what. But he's not. He's not the same." I tried to brush it off. Mark had been working long hours lately, stressed about his new project, and perhaps Liam was simply picking up on tension that was normal in our household. I smiled, tried to soothe him. "Don't worry, sweetheart. Dad loves us. You're imagining things." But even as I said it, a chill ran down my spine. Liam never lied. He rarely overreacted. His intuition was sharp, far sharper than mine sometimes. That night, I couldn't shake his words. I went to check on him before bed, and he was sitting upright, wide-eyed, staring at the dark corner of his room. "Mom, you have to promise you'll stay with me tomorrow until you see it," he whispered. "Promise?" His tiny hands gripped mine tightly. I promised, though my mind was racing with questions. What could he have possibly seen or sensed? The next morning, I left for work early, while Mark stayed home with Liam, but when I returned in the afternoon, Liam ran out to meet me, tugging at my hand. "Mom, now! Don't go near Dad until you see it." My stomach tightened. Something was very wrong. I followed him quietly into the living room, trying to keep my voice low. What I saw made my heart stop. Mark was pacing frantically, muttering to himself. His usually calm demeanor was gone, replaced by something I had never witnessed. The coffee table was overturned, papers strewn across the floor, and the air smelled faintly of alcohol. His hands shook, his jaw was tight, and when he noticed me, his eyes were wild, almost unrecognizable. For a brief moment, I felt pure fear. Liam clung to my leg, trembling, and whispered, "He's not himself. Mom, he's dangerous right now." I knelt down to comfort him, feeling the weight of his fear, and realized that my son's intuition had been warning me all along. My mind raced. How did I miss the signs? The unexplained phone calls, the secretive behavior, the growing anger. I had dismissed them all. I tried to speak calmly to Mark, to reason with him. "Mark, it's okay. Let's just calm down, please." But his response was erratic, his words disjointed. It was clear that something had been brewing in him for weeks, maybe months. And in that instant, I realized Liam had not been exaggerating. There was a real danger here. I quietly picked up Liam and backed toward the door. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold him. I told him to stay close and whispered for him to remain calm. Once we were outside, I called my best friend. And then the authorities. The next few minutes were a blur. When the police arrived, Mark tried to hide his erratic behavior, but the signs were undeniable. They discovered messages and documents indicating plans that could have put us in serious harm. I felt a mixture of relief and heartbreak. The man I married, the father of my child, had changed in ways I couldn't have foreseen. And yet, my little son had known. His instincts, his quiet observations, had kept us safe. I held Liam close, overwhelmed with gratitude. He had sensed the danger before I had, and acted in the only way he could, with warning and courage far beyond his years. The following weeks were difficult. We moved in with my parents temporarily, trying to recover from the shock and uncertainty. Liam asked questions that were hard to answer, but I reassured him that he had done the right thing. He was proud, and I was proud of him too. I realized that children see and understand more than adults give them credit for. Their perception is unfiltered, instinctual, and sometimes life-saving. Mark eventually faced the consequences of his actions, and our lives slowly began to stabilize. Liam, who had been so small and vulnerable, had transformed into a vigilant, strong, and aware little boy. Every day, I saw reminders of his bravery, the way he paid attention to people, how he spoke up when something seemed off, and how he always checked in with me to ensure we were safe. That experience changed the way I saw both my son and the world. I learned never to dismiss the quiet voice of concern, never to assume that children don't understand danger. Liam's warning had saved us. His courage, his wisdom, and his ability to see beyond what adults could perceive had prevented a tragedy I dare not imagine. Now, whenever he whispers a warning or points out something that seems small, I stop and listen. I learn to trust him, to respect the strength in his intuition. And I realize that sometimes, the smallest among us are the ones who see the truth the clearest, who act with bravery when the rest of us are blind. Even today, I reflect on that day often. I marvel at my son's insight, his instinct, and the way he protected us without fully understanding the danger. That single act of courage forged a bond between us that can never be broken. And it taught me the most important lesson of all: when a child speaks from the heart, when they warn you in the quiet way only they can, you listen, you pay attention, because in their small voice lies a truth that can save lives, including your own. My little son, Liam, had always been unusually perceptive for his age. He noticed things adults often overlook: the subtle change in a neighbor's mood, the way someone's eyes flickered when they were hiding something, or the tension in a room that no one else seemed to feel. But one evening, he came running to me, his small hands trembling, his eyes wide with fear. "Mom, be careful around Dad," he whispered, his voice barely audible. At first, I tried to smile, to soothe him. I told him not to worry, that his dad loved us and everything was fine. But the intensity in his gaze, the urgency in his tone, left a chill in my heart. I couldn't shake the feeling that he was right. That night, he asked me to promise something I didn't fully understand. "Don't go near Dad tomorrow until I call you." "Mom, promise me." My stomach tightened. I promised, even though my mind raced with questions. What could he possibly have sensed? The next day, Liam guided me to the living room. What I saw made my blood run cold. Mark, my husband, was a different man entirely. His face was flushed with anger. His hands trembled, and papers were scattered everywhere. He muttered to himself, pacing back and forth like a storm about to break. For a moment, I barely recognized the man I had married. Liam clung to me, whispering that his dad wasn't himself and could be dangerous. I acted quickly, picking Liam up and quietly backing out of the room. I called the authorities, and when they arrived, they uncovered evidence of actions that could have put us in real danger. My son's warning had been our lifeline. He had sensed something adults often miss: the subtle signs of imminent danger, and guided me to safety. In the weeks that followed, we stayed with my parents, slowly processing the shock. Liam, though still a child, displayed courage and maturity far beyond his years. That experience taught me a powerful lesson: never underestimate a child's perception. Their intuition can be sharper, their observations more accurate than we realize. Liam's bravery saved our lives and forged a bond between us that will never be broken. Sometimes, the most extraordinary courage comes not from the strongest or oldest among us, but from the smallest, most innocent hearts: children who see the truth when adults cannot.